If there's one thing I've learned from doing this show, it's that Christianity and Japan have shared a, interesting relationship in the past. Even though there is a Christian population in Japan, it's less than 1% of the total. For the rest of the country, Christianity is less a major religion and more a point of interest in terms of mythology. Since Japan has had no real Judeo-Christian foundation in which their government and/or culture was formed, it only stands to reason that the Bible and all surrounding scrolls and testaments are seen in a similar light as we see the Greek and Roman pantheon of gods. As such, whenever Christianity is used in Japanese pop culture, it's less about reaffirming faith or being a dissertation on faith like it is here in the States, and more about providing an interesting setting for the story. In other words, if you see Christian themes in iconography and anime, chances are that it's mostly there because Japanese people think Christianity is something exotic and unfamiliar, and that includes, yes, Evangelion. I know, Gainax syndrome and everything, but you don't need to take my word for it. Kazuya Tsuramaki, assistant director as well as art director on Evangelion and director of Fooly Cooly, was quoted as saying this in Danny Cavallaro's The Art of Studio Gainax. "We did want our story to have a religious theme to help distinguish us. Because Christianity is an uncommon religion in Japan, we thought it would be mysterious. None of the staff who worked on Eva are Christians. There is no actual Christian meaning to the show. We just thought the visual symbols of Christianity look cool. If we had known the show would get distributed in the US and Europe, we might have rethought that choice." Nothing tastes better than being right. That the Japanese tend to treat Christianity as something like a novelty can come off as insensitive to those who count themselves among the faithful. But I feel that getting worked up about this is a waste of time at best. 9 times out of 10, it's not demonstrably malicious and meant only as some kind of innocuous hook to keep viewers interested. The 1 time out of 10, though?
My father has heard me and granted my prayer! My revenge!
It's insane. And just like misery, insanity loves company. Yes, indeedy, time for us to jump feet first into the swirling waters that is Angel Sanctuary, a quite infamous bit of shoujo fluff whose reputation is one of blasphemy and sheer mindfuckery. Comparing this with Sins of the Sisters, though, is like comparing a basket of rabid weasels with an entire mental ward full of psychopathic axe murderers. Yes, one is more insane, but I wouldn't jump into either without the proper protection. So, time to strap on your riot gear that you've been using as your Umbrella Corp cosplay. This is Angel Sanctuary. And I said Angel Sanctuary! We begin at a breakneck pace, establishing virtually nothing except for just how much of a head trip this is gonna be.
Adam's first wife, Lilith, was the free-spirited woman who became the bride of a demon. You are about to repeat her evil deeds. Lucifer was once the most brilliant being in the sky. He was a vision of beauty.
Yep, that horse trough full of nonsense pretty much tells you how this anime is going to be told. It's hard to convey because I'm forced to edit around the anime, but trust me when I say that while this isn't the most what-the-fuck anime I've covered, it's not for lack of speed at which the mindfuckery comes at you. By far and away, Angel Sanctuary has the quickest, most white-knuckle narrative this side of the Digimon movie. One day. One day.
Whoa. That moon is huge.
Yeah, with the moon that close, wouldn't it have affected the tides or something like— Oh dear Christ! Well, his lunar observance goes nowhere, as we bamf to another scene where the guy gets a good old-fashioned blanket party.
Had enough, Setsuna Mudo?
No more, Mr. Smartass?
Don't get carried away, goddamn freshman!
That'll be quite enough of that, Yoji, my friend.
Oh, now you're gonna step in and break up the fight, as opposed to the dozen other chances you had to break it up. I mean, was your book really that engrossing that you couldn't look up to see what I'm assuming is your friend being bludgeoned with a goddamn aluminum baseball bat? Maybe you never needed those teeth anyway.
Say something.
I want to do the nasty.
Huh?
And he is clearly of sound mind and reasoning to boot. Way to go, Hebner.
You idiot! I've told you so many times not to fight!
Sarah?
Oh, no, you don't! You are not taking over this review if it's the last thing I do! So, finally coming to his senses, Ichino here reveals that he purposefully started this fight to avoid meeting up with his sister, both having been separated due to their parents' divorce. The day is shot, so the two just walk home.
Why do you think our folks split up? I suppose it had to do with Dad having an affair.
I think you cracked the case there, Nancy Drew. Maybe it's time for you to move on to another head-scratcher like Cold Fusion. Well, this is all benign enough, but where's the weird shit?
Well, you can take off here. Thanks for walking me home.
There's a difference, though. You don't love me the same way I love you. Oh, God. If you do exist, grant me a wish. Please, protect that unspoiled angel from my animalistic intentions.
Yes, God, please cock-block me for my own sister. That's the only sane solution I can see. Ah, anime and incest. This is certainly not the first time we travel down this road, but this is the first time where the incest takes front and center stage. The Wincest Wonder Twins and Voltage Fighter Go Kaiser were just lackeys of a guy who wound up not even being the main antagonist, and Kota and Yuka might as well not be cousins for all the impact their incestuous relationship had on the story at large. But here, the fact that Ichino wants to clean out his sister's fish tank is the main driving force of the story. And the story treats this relationship, for the most part, as something abominable and tragic, which, you know, kind of comes with the territory. When you're dealing with a sensitive and taboo subject like incest, there's only one way to go about it without it turning into fetish porn or a trauma film, and that's the forbidden romance narrative. In that way, it's one of the very few topics left that can have a real visceral reaction from the audience, thus reinforcing the whole concept of the forbidden romance. Even people with no siblings are still left with a taste of revulsion in their mouths at the mere mention of it. There's no way this anime can end in anything other than tragedy, because how else do you end a forbidden romance narrative? But, nevertheless, color me interested. If Ichino isn't anguishing about his dirty thoughts about his sister, then he's dodging falling objects perpetrated by these two instigators.
Can't you do something besides dodge?
I've seen you two before.
So you noticed. I'm impressed, big boy.
I'm the 14th child of King Gehenna of the Netherworld.
And I'm gonna be a Pokemon Master!
You'll get hurt if you underestimate us. We're the demons who crawl up from hell to devour human flesh. Noble blood runs in our veins.
I never knew there were homosexual demons.
Burn?
What gave you that idea?
I'm quite perceptive when it comes to these matters. Besides, your tits are crooked. You must be using some cheap padding there, Miss Thang.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the dub script might have gone off base from the original translation, unless they really intended for Ichino to be a Japanese Antoine Merriweather. Hated it. The two get out of Dodge when they start attracting attention, but the plot soon derails and into exposition territory. Seems that there was a renegade angel named Alexiel who rebelled against her fellow angels in some kind of war that is passively mentioned. She was felled, but instead of just going to the place where angels die, her body was somehow imprisoned in crystal and her spirit reincarnated into the body of Ichino, which means he has powers now and is the target of demons and Alexiel's brother, who also has an incestuous obsession with her. Now, it may seem like the anime is really doubling down on the incestuous themes here, but when you consider the mythology, it's not out of place. Genesis, 1930. After escaping God's wrath and destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, still recovering over the loss of his wife, who was turned into a pillar of salt, Lot is rendered incapacitated by his own two daughters, who got him drunk on wine, specifically so they can fuck him and start a whole new tribe of people going. The Bible! The original Jerry Springer Show!
I can't go back yet. Not until I resurrect Alexiel's spirit. It was a tough find.
So okay, let's resurrect the spirit already.
Come on, let's get this over with. The Big Bang Theory's on. In the meantime, they're gonna have to wait on the resurrection, as Ichino's sister has been kidnapped by the punks at the top of the episode, and they lure him into yet another beatdown.
I guess they found out that his weakness is his sister, Saramudo.
And how did they figure that one out, Hebner?
Didn't you see how he went weak in the knees after a while?
That's because she showed up. She acts as a restraint for him. Prevents him from killing people.
Are you his friend or not, Hebner? For crying out loud, I have an easier time following the character motivations of Revolver Ocelot. Ichino tries to turn the tide, but surprise! All the bullies are actually cyber demon golems that proceed to rip his fucking arm off! And then Alexiel's brother just pimps in from literally out of nowhere.
You look awful.
Thank you.
Okay. That was pretty good.
Blessed by the grace of God, I stood at the apex of glory until I was sealed on this earth by spell.
I think you're missing an article there, Neil Armstrong. So Rosiel wants his sister back, but the last time he saw her, she attacked him and forced him out of heaven, so I don't know why he wants her back. And just as I'm about to tear my hair out from all of this, a celestial being appears and literally hits the reset button on everything, leaving Ichino to gather up his sister and with nothing else but a weird-ass story to tell.
Why don't you go back to your own country? Who knows? More important things could be waiting there for you.
My country no longer exists. It was destroyed by you humans and angels.
You mean to tell me that humans helped destroy Gehenna? Which, if you don't know, is an analog of hell. To make a long story as short as possible, there are many destinations of the dead from many different sources, and they all seem to interlap with another. There's Sheol, which is basically a black void with nothing but shade that the souls of both the righteous and unrighteous dwell. There's Abaddon, which in some texts has been described as a place where the damned lie in fire and snow, and then there's Gehenna, which just seems to be a place for the wicked. So in essence, humans helped destroy hell. How? You're not gonna believe me when I tell you this, but I swear this is what the anime holds true. Humans helped destroy hell by polluting the earth.
Kingdom of Gehenna and your domain, Usher, are two sides of the same coin. As the human race polluted the sky and ravaged the land, Gehenna, in turn, also deteriorated.
Oh my god, this is so fucking stupid. You mean to tell me that every time I ignore Woodsy the Owl and throw batteries into my garbage, I'm helping the war effort on hell? No, I'm not being an asshole for refusing to cut up my six-pack rings. I'm endangering the environment for Jesus. Wait, this is the Old Testament we're dealing with here, so, I'm doing this for Abraham? And what does the anime do with this reality-shattering notion? Abso-fucking-lutely nothing. Do they even know the ramifications of their own lore? What the fuck? Oh, child. 13 minutes into this episode, and we're not even through the first episode. It's like a Thanksgiving cornucopia of ass. Ichino says fuck you to the demons and brings his sister back home, where his mother catches him planting a kiss on her. Ew. And the scene quickly devolves into melodrama when Nancy here overhears her mother and brother arguing about his feelings towards her, and she just admits that she wants him too. In typical melodrama fashion, Ichino goes for the most overwrought, most angst-ridden out possible, and tries to break her heart.
Don't be presumptuous.
Mercilessly shattered.
I hate stupid chicks. Broken to pieces.
Smother, 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 smother.
Search as she may to the end of the world. Wait as she may for centuries. She'll never meet another man who'll love her more than I do. He doesn't exist!
The heights of utter bombastic ridiculousness this anime achieves is inspiring in a way. Ah yes, the tried and true wailing to the rain-soaked heavens in desperate grief chestnut. Most of us might think this to be a hackneyed, done-to-death piece of trite crap, but to the shoujo fangirls out there?
Total sploosh.
Actually, yeah, gotta give him the sploosh.
All I'm saying is that Ichino isn't going to be the only one out there who's wet. Back in hell, I presume, Ash talks to 3 oracles, or at least I think they're oracles, about how awakening Alexiel's spirit will pretty much doom the planet.
It will bring about an unprecedented catastrophe. Also not to be forgotten is the true fact that Alexiel's awakening signifies Setsuna's death.
Death? Setsuna will die?
I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do for you now.
Why is this anime using the exact same transition music as Saved by the Bell? Well, with pretty much everyone on every side miserable beyond any reasonable stretch, time to check in on Nancy and her one-girl pity party.
God is outraged. The church bells scream madly in the distance, as if to tell me, heathens, be gone. Blessed white angels come to pinch and peck at me.
I suppose now is as good as time as any to point out that while the dub script is asinine beyond belief, the acting itself, for the most part, is commendable. One of the questions I feel needs to be asked for a better understanding about acting is a deceptively simple one. What do you think acting is for? For me, acting is for making an audience believe that what the actor is saying wasn't pre-written. And when you're working with a script that was written like Angel Sanctuaries, your job is sort of cut out for you. And yet, pretty much everyone in the main cast are trying their damnedest to make what's on the page believable and compelling. Credit to Scott Cargill, Tara Sands, Crispin Freeman, Veronica Taylor, and Vinnie Penna for being above all else a professional.
The only thing of beauty to come out of God's refuse that I am. What does that mean?
Even when what they're reading is the silliest, goofiest, prosiest crap they've ever seen. Of course, my praise is soon put to the test when Nancy approaches Ichino to announce her sudden departure for England and embraces him. Someone catches them in the act and literally showers the entire school campus with flyers revealing them.
Chill out. You're making a spectacle of yourself.
No. If you want to see somebody make a spectacle out of themselves...
How dare you! I'll send you to your grave!
That still is yet to be topped. Though, it's not like they're not trying here. The whole scene is just so very cringy, and it's just plain embarrassing to watch as Hebner tries to assuage Ichino about his wanting to clean out his sister's basement with his womb broom. But thankfully, we dump out of that scene when Hebner corners one of the bullies that was targeting Ichino at the beginning.
Did you get rid of that guardian angel hanging around him? In that case, I must say your way of loving is righteous. You're just exactly like me.
Well, he must have ingested another exotic substance, am I right? Huh, Kato?
Oh, for fuck's sake, can we go one anime on this show without a character going full Otomo? Enough with the goddamn cables already! Seems the guy took a pill that was given to him by Rosiel that somehow allows him to possess his body, and not only that, Hebner reveals himself to be an immortal that was given eternal life by Rosiel. That's a lot to process, I know, but I assure you, it's only going to get more confusing from here on out. Too bad Ichino doesn't know all this and activates the pain of loss to bring forth Alexiel and chase Rosiel off, slaying the bully in the process.
Alexiel?
Oh! Shit!
Is that you, Setsuna?
That was... Alexiel just now? That scary broad is inside me?
That scary broad? What are you, a gangster in the 1940s? Ichino throws a hissy fit when he finds out that Hebner is alive and well, and they all just go their separate ways, I guess. Except for Ash, who decides to keep hounding Ichino. How the fuck did that car get airborne? What? No, wait. Why in the world did Ichino try to save him in the first place? He's a demon!
How do you expect to take revenge when you can't even protect yourself? A woman acquires beauty and grace when she learns to let someone protect her! Stop acting like a man!
I mean, she's a demon. Wait, what?
A woman acquires beauty and grace when she learns to let someone protect her! Stop acting like a man!
Let's just move on. The body of the bully is found by the police, and it doesn't take long for them to come a-knocking on Ichino's door. However, seeing as how this would be the last chance that he could confess to his sister that he wants her to do squats in his cucumber patch, I'm only making this as gross as it actually is, Ichino instead leads the police in a chase to the airport.
What I'm about to say is my true confession! Sarah, I love you! I've always loved you. I know I can't make you happy, but you're the only one I can ever love.
And I should know, I'm 14 years old. He's clearly in high school and everyone calls him a freshman, so yeah, he's gotta be around 14. Oh, and the best part is that she's his little sister, so she has to be at most 13. You know, Romeo and Juliet were also teenagers, but unlike these two, besides not being brother and sister, their story wasn't necessarily about a forbidden love. The point of their story was the fact that they were stupid, impulsive teenagers who did stupid, impulsive things because they were so starry-eyed in love that they didn't think things through. Relatable to the teenage experience, yes, but not something one should glorify. And their story doesn't. That Romeo and Juliet killed themselves needlessly wasn't the climax of the thematic arc of the play, but in Prince Escalus' dressing down of the houses of Capulet and Montague. Where be these enemies, Capulet, Montague? See what a scourge is laid upon your hate, that heaven finds means to kill your joys with love. And I, for winking at your discords too, have lost a brace of kinsmen. All are punished. The stupidity of Romeo and Juliet is reflected in the stupidity of their families, letting a long vendetta kill not only their servants, but ultimately their own children. And to heap even more onto the situation, it's a vendetta that seems to have no real start to it, since it goes completely unmentioned throughout the entire play. The Montagues and Capulets hate each other because, well, they hate each other. Foolishness and hate, foolishness and love. Now, is it fair to compare Angel Sanctuary to Shakespeare? Hell to the fucking no. But it is fair to compare this with a more contemporaneous love story. Love Actually. Yes, I've seen it. Shut the fuck up. Yes, scene in the airport where a guy confesses his love, but I'm not talking about Liam Neeson. I'm talking about Andrew Lincoln's Mark confessing his love to the very much married to his best friend Keira Knightley's Juliet. I swear I did not mean for that to happen. Mark is obviously in turmoil over his feelings for Juliet, and logically we all know that this story cannot end with everyone happy. However, while he doesn't get the girl, nor should he does find closure and a means for his conscience to finally rest. Meanwhile, in Angel Sanctuary...
I don't need God's blessing. I don't need a white bouquet. All I need is you.
Hooray! A 14 and 13-year-old brother and sister are going to throw their lives away so they can lock legs and swap gravy. Maybe they'll fart out a few potato-headed babies in defiance of nature and basic human decency. Yes, Ichino's situation is an inherently tragic one, and in the short term, there doesn't seem to be a road that leads to a happy ending. So with his love confessed and requited, it may seem that he managed to get his happy ending, but again, this is all thinking in the moment. Down the line, this is the worst situation for the both of them, and I don't think the anime is aware of this. Then again, this is all happening during a celestial war that might end the material plane as we know it, so there might not be a long term. But bottom line, the plot is weird and stupid. Hebner covers their escape and takes the fall for the murder of the bully, while somehow also giving Ichino a wad of cash that he somehow got. Like, does he have super speed on top of also being immortal, and he just dropped that cash into Ichino's pocket without him or the audience knowing it? Well, whatever the case may be, at least we all know that Hebner is actually a spirit that inhabited the body of a dying boy for purposes that will never be made clear to the audience. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'd like to borrow your body. In exchange, I'll grant you all your wishes.
But I'll eventually die again, will I? My mother's dead, and soon I'll die too. My father will have to grieve twice. Will you promise me then? Make my father hate me?
What?
I don't want my father to be sad. I want to be positively unlovable to my father.
Yeah, and if he can also whip me half to death with a bicycle chain, that would just be aces. What is with this fucking anime? I get the method to this character's madness, but why must it also coincide with the OVA's obsession with characters with messiah complexes? Yeah, maybe your dad doesn't want to mourn the death of his son, but I'm pretty damn skippy he doesn't want to hate you either, you little shit. God damn it, I think this is the first time I've ever encountered a nega Shinji. Finally, a son I can be proud of. Even though Ichino and Nancy here are touring the Japanese countryside by rail, Ichino realizes that this can't be forever. But, for the purposes of the audience at large, this realization is too little too late. We're expected to cheer and or gasp at their reunion at the airport, and then despair with them when reality starts to sink in. But that can only come about if we connect with the characters, and the anime just doesn't do it. Here's an honest question for you all. Why do these siblings love each other? From Nancy's perspective, Ichino just gave her a ring when they were young in some innocuous-looking gesture. As for Ichino's perspective, who knows? Do you see what I mean, how there's so little for the audience to connect with? Now, you might argue that due to the nature of their relationship, connection isn't exactly the healthiest thing to form, but I would argue that the anime has to at least give us a reason to care. And it doesn't. So when the realization that the two of them have made a huge mistake, the only reaction we can form is, well, yeah, you dumb assholes, you ruined your lives because you wanted to burp the worm in the molehole. Maybe not in those exact words, but the point remains that these characters are awful, one-dimensional, and make idiotic decisions for the sake of the plot. Speaking of, we finally get some traction when Rosiel's boy toy witnesses him going full Alfred Ashford to no one in particular.
Stop it. Stop it, sister. Why? Sister, why do you torture me so? Dear sister Alexia.
Alexia! Something must be done, or Sir Rosiel will be starved for her affection, and then... There can be no avoiding it now, even if we both end up dead. I'll deal with Setsuna Mudo myself.
He soon has the chance when he happens upon Ichino and Nancy coming back to Tokyo, and proceeds to pull him and her into, his dimension, I suppose.
Setsuna! The ring you gave me, it protected us.
Huh, maybe that ring wasn't just a plastic piece of junk.
Setsuna!
Or maybe it was! Fuck you too, Angel Sanctuary. Since very few people get up after getting a hole punched through their chest, it's time for Ichino to wanks like he's never wanksted before, which means destroying Tokyo. Of course it does.
I hope Father left Tokyo as planned. He found out who I am. Not to worry. There's no way he'll stick around. Huh? Father.
Of all the barely alive corpses he could have come across while walking through the ruins of Tokyo, Hebner just happened across his father's. Well, I guess that whole getting your dad to hate you for the greater good just backfired on you, asshole! So, yup, Hebner witnesses his dad dying, and that whole plotline goes absolutely nowhere. And speaking of nowhere, Ichino manages to trap himself into a prison of the mind. I'm so not kidding. He dreams of his sister not only being alive, but being not his sister and just his girlfriend. This is amazingly cheap and forced, if only because it's not like Rosiel or any of the angels or demons or whoever is making him dream this. He's just dreaming this on his own, so there's completely no tension in his decision to wake up and face the music, and it only winds up being an absolute waste of time. But he does wake up, and he finally confronts Rosiel. And the resulting battle isn't even a battle at all. All Rosiel does is egg on Ichino to kill Hebner. Why, I don't know. He doesn't, and he sends out Alexiel to kill Rosiel in one blow. I have to ask, what was Rosiel trying to do? Resurrect his sister? For what purpose? He says over and over again that he wants his sister to love him, but if she continues to reject him, he'll kill her. So, is this like a Joker situation where he just does stuff to do stuff? But then you have to wonder about the fact that killing Ichino would just mean that Alexiel's spirit will just move on to another human being. So, why risk killing Ichino and having to look for her spirit again? Just, please end. So in comes that Seraphim to, once again, blink back existence. Save for Nancy because her death allowed Ichino to awaken Alexiel, I think. Supposedly, this guy needs Ichino's help to save him from this permanent stasis he seems to be in, but Ichino farts on that and just has Hebner kill him so he can find Nancy's spirit in Hades, just like Orpheus.
Kurai. Is he dead?
He's off to the netherworld to bring back his beloved wife, as Orpheus once did.
And we finally end this tipped-over porta-potty of a story by having our characters all call out God. Yeah, good luck with that, guys. This anime is terrible. Hell, it's beyond reason how atrocious this is. The characters are stale cutouts we've seen time and time again, the out-there premise boggles the mind on how awful it's used, and the saccharine shoujo fluff is textbook irritating. At best, the anime is schmaltzy treacle, and at worst, it's a confusing pile of dog shit that borders on the surreal. Save for some moments of so bad it's good relief, there really isn't a lot to recommend here. You can have fun with it, but it will test your patience. Pro-riffers only. Everyone else, keep a distance of at least 5 feet. So, the mood here at Anime Abandoned HQ is a little down, but it can't be down for long, not when it's this time of the year. That's right, Christmas is just around the corner, and we are welcoming it with open arms with Itsudate My Santa. Till next time. And I should know, I'm 14 years old. He's just doing donuts inside the intersection. Fuck you, Bennett, fuck you!
Long live your Lord High Regent Sage! Long live Benetopia!